Welcome to the indices, and here we're looking at the S&P 500, and I have to point out that the wave counts for the indices aren't very clear, so it's making it difficult to interpret, and that's pretty much all of these patterns through here. The best patterns that come up are on the Dow Transports, and if I can just bring the daily chart up for the Dow Transports, we can see here on the daily chart it's just much clearer, and what we see here is up for 1 here and back for 2, and then the third wave is the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. So this would be the top of the third. There would still be the wave 4 to come into play, and then still a little wave 5 following that there to give us the 5 waves up. So that's kind of what I'm sort of thinking about really for the indices as well. The Dow Transports can lead the indices, and it's just the cleanest wave count that I can see, because when we look at the we bring up the Dow Jones on the same sort of chart here, just bear with me a second. This one here, it's you can see that coming up from this low here, it's you don't see that sort of structure that we just saw in I've just seen in the Dow Transports. It's a bit tricky. This whole wave count in here wasn't very clear either, and then it's not clear in here either. So using the Dow Transports is one way to look at that. The other point, of course, is that I think that it's a good time to use the trading levels, and as just another guide stick really. And you know, the current situation here for the Dow Jones at least is that it's made, well, a high pretty much over this one here and close to this one here, and I know that double tops are never the end of the bull campaign, so you know, there's still highs to go here. But also what we can sort of understand here as well is that in terms of using the levels, this would be the arrival, the reaction, and then would be looking for the first high above the level here, as such, something of this nature, and then we would see a larger correction at that point through here. It doesn't have to go that high, of course. 6.8 is probably about right. Profit taking at number 8 there. So I think using the levels, and that also comes into the S&P 500 as well. So in using the levels here in this sort of frame, is that the 1900 is the closest largest number. So we know that there's going to be selling pressure coming into this area, and we mentioned it yesterday, and we're seeing it today. And you know, so that means we need to look at support, and the support across here within group 2, which would be the 65, 72 and the 80, is quite reasonable. This trend up here hasn't had a correction yet, but it may not just have it here as such. I was sort of thinking that looking at some sort of ABC testing back in here before we get a move up here to get a larger correction from this space here. The 61.8 retracement level comes back to within group 2 here. So I think what we could say is that while the market is supported in group 2, or being in group 2 here, then it still has a bullish bias towards higher ground. The little wave count going up through here, it can be counted in 2 different ways as well. It can be counted, which doesn't make it any easier, of course. It can have wave 3 here, or it can have wave 5 here. So I've pulled it apart, and it doesn't really it's just not clear enough to use, and that's the thing with Elliott. When you're confident in a particular pattern, well then obviously you can use that. But if you're not confident in it, well then you can't use it, and it's as simple as that. So that's why we're reverting back to the levels, and we know that it's not like the market's going to run off and we're going to miss anything. There is going to be resistance up here, and this trend up here hasn't been corrected. So we're going to get some sort of correction in this space here. In fact, we're getting one now. We just don't know the size of it. How's it going to pan out as such? And on the intraday for the Dow, the same thing as well. the 16,500 is a medium level, and look, while the market's above this, it's positive, you know, so you wouldn't short the market above this here. If the 16,500 became a retested resistance, but sure, you know, we can look at it at that point there. In the meantime, we can also consider of having a correction in this space here. Let's just have a little look in through here. I mean, this level here, 16.58, if that became the support, then you can trade long off that, because realistically, you know, we are in an uptrend. We're above 16,500. So, you know, we're on the right side of the market. We just need to know that we're going to make a new high above here, and support on this tested support on this level here would do that. And also too, the other thing too is the bullish weekly cycle as well, which would have Friday heading higher for the Australian market at least. The DAX here, yesterday we talked about this trend line coming through here as being a resistance, and we did have a spike here on the non-farm payroll figures, I guess, and it's, you know, it's back under that. It's held it as resistance there. You know, it's lining up with that resistance with the other markets as well. And this is also, this whole move up here hasn't really had a decent correction as well. So it's also really overbought as well. But I also understand that the momentum that's coming up through here is also still strong to the upside. So it can certainly make new highs. It's just that we, you know, having a bit of a correction in this space there that can bring it back to the 9,500 as well. So if you're trading long here, well, on the intraday note here, you would need that 96.30, the top of group 1 there, as a nice tested support. If the 96.20 became the retested resistance, then you expect the price to be under 96. And if you're trading long and you're on 96.30 as a support, it's just got the first high above the level at the moment, and then you'll look to add on the 96.50 if that was going to be the case. But this move down here appears to be impulsive, so this move up through here can certainly be corrective as well, and it's definitely overbought. So this, you know, and we noted that yesterday, so there's more corrective price action coming. And the same with the FTSE as well. I just thought that I'd show you this particular one here where it is overbought here, and you know, these highs here have all highs and lows here have all come in, you know, meeting each other, where this one here has only moved up here a little bit through here, you know, a third of the way up or whatever, and the stochastics have moved right up here into the overbought area here. But at the same time, we've got you know, the momentum coming through there as well. But this is a weaker market than the DAX and the S&P 500. So if you're shorting, this is the one that you would look to. The ASX 200, once again, the wave count up from the low down here through up here, as I mentioned, it doesn't count very well as an impulsive wave unless it's the beginning of some much larger trend to the upside, and that's possible as well. But as I sort of looking at this here, this is definitely an A and a B and a C, which makes the rest, which is corrective, which makes the rest of this here corrective as well. So yeah, this counting this up through here is also not very clear as well. This move, we can just pull apart little bits of it, because when we looked at this bit here the other day, we could see that, well, this is in 3 waves coming down, so it's corrective, so we'll make a new high above here. Well, we did, but, you know, wasn't really nothing to write home about. But what I wanted to point out here next is that this little move down through here, this seems to be bullish corrective as well. It's got overlapping wave structures in it, so it's bullish. So we should still make a new high above here. And yes, market is overbought up to this stage here, but while the 5400 here is sitting there as support, then we can look to the upside. there's not a lot of elements to, give it a positive push to the upside. I don't see any reason why it should, except that this is corrective here, and also our little bullish weekly cycle, which is more of a sentiment situation, but can be very sort of helpful. And Thursday was a bit of a bear day, nothing really to write home about either on that one, but it was a bit softer as such. Everything's sort of going on track. It would have been nice to see a more profit taking, but that's fine too. So look, with this one here, 5,400 support. If you're going to trade long on this today, then you want to break, or at least some support on the 54.10 as such in here. So because 1 is the strongest number, and that's 10. So you want that to be taken out as such. You want to see a push up, and it would be nice if it had a retest as well. So if that would be the 1, the 2, the 3, 4, and 5 to here, and then some type of corrective move here, and hopefully from up from that point there, or just really taking the break in the same sort of thing here. You know how they come back and test the trend line and so forth. So you just need some little inkling of light on the upside there. Alrighty. Look, sorry, not a lot of help today. But the Australian market can push up. The US markets and the European markets are overbought extremely, and are facing large numbers for resistance. So it's not like they're going to run off anywhere. So, alrighty, cheers.